Hello everyone, and thank you for having me here today. My name is Binayak. I am part of an organization known as ThinkZone. So ThinkZone provides quality learning opportunities to children from underserved neighborhoods. So today I wanted to share something about education, but I wanted to share something which has worked at ThinkZone even on a small scale. So I wanted to share with you the story of Tarnum. Tarnum is a passionate youth. She comes from a humble background, but she's very good in studies. So despite her financial constraints, she is pursuing her graduation from a nearby college. She was once inspired by one of her primary school teachers, and as a result, she is always passionate about teaching. So Tarnum actually didn't know what to do next, how to go about it, how to teach children. So as a part of our organization's initiative, Empower Educators, we were initially doing a grassroots campaigns in her community. She got to know about it, and she got herself onboarded into the program. To give you a background about the Empower Educators program of ThinkZone, the program basically trains youth to teach children in their own communities. So despite having no formal teaching background or a proper degree, a teaching degree, her passion was enough to start engaging with children. So when she started interacting and teaching children, she saw a lot of problems with the children faced. She was able to actually identify the problems which she herself faced, and when she was a child. So she started that, she wanted that she won't be letting these problems being faced by these children, and wanted to solve that. So instead of going with the proper or you can say the traditional rote learning method, she tried to do something different. She incorporated simple activities in her classroom. So initially these activities were liked by children, but the parents were not convinced. The parents said that what is she doing? They don't know what is happening. But as slowly the parents realized that their children were learning well, so they sort of motivated her, encouraged her to continue teaching, and more children started coming to her home. So today, Tarnum is a successful, you can say, education micro-entrepreneur who is teaching children in her community as a part-time income. So one might wonder, Tarnum didn't have a proper education degree. She did not have a formal background. So how is she able to positively impact children in her community? This is where I think as a society, we have been thinking and about education in general. We have stereotyped it. As a society, what we have been continuously been prescribed that someone's formal education degree, a family's socioeconomic background, a proper educational infrastructure would lead to good learning. But it is not actually true. And we can see in the case of Tarnum that she is able to improve the learning outcomes of children in her own community without having a proper, you can say, big educational infrastructure. So Tarnum is actually not alone. There are more than 6,000 plus educators who have been identified and trained by ThinkZone and who are a part of our Empower Educators program. Everyone comes from a very humble background, but to your amazement, what you'll find is that a recent independent impact evaluation happened of our programs, where these educators, basically who were engaging children in their own communities, were able to positively impact children with average, scores in language, like in English, in Odia, in maths, improving significantly. Another thing, it is not about just improvement in their scores. It is basically development of their foundational skills, which is critical. So children who were not able to identify alphabets are able to now create and speak sentences, complex sentences. Children who were not able to do basic numeracy are now able to do complex addition and subtraction problems. Actually has an happy end, right? So Tarnum, the story of Tarnum, the story of other, you can say, educators. They don't have a fancy degree. They're able to impact children in the society. So yes, things are happening well. But my story doesn't end over here, because the story has a big twist right now. The twist was unfortunate. The twist was the pandemic. Things during the pandemic and the pandemic-induced lockdown, which were closed, were educational institutions. Primary schools, secondary schools, Anganwadis, everything was locked down. Everything was shut. So children of Tarnum, like who she was teaching, did not have access to any sort of education, any modes of learning. But in another world, there was this rise of the big edtech industry. I am pretty sure in the audience, like you must be having, mobile apps of, I don't know, a leading edtech player or maybe of a big startup. So this big edtech boom started, especially during the pandemic, with startups raising millions of dollars. You can say the paradigm shifted, and here it was that online learning became the new normal. Started taking classes using virtual mode on the smartphone, on their laptops, on their computers. EdTech, solutions having, sophisticated mobile applications, fancy mobile apps for children, which were being used. Parents used to, buy subscriptions for them, continue to do so till now. But here in this another world where Tarnum was there, and from the community where she belonged, parents did not have access to smartphones or the internet. So there is this another reality which hit that children from, you can say, underserved neighborhoods were not getting access to education. On social media, like in general media in general, we had this huge thing that online learning is the new normal. Everyone, like virtual classes is the thing. It is the way ahead. But what about, you can say, maximum population, maximum children who did not have access to such devices? There were recent reports, and especially during the pandemic, and the number ranged from 60 to 80%, that students did not have access to internet in India during the pandemic. So there is this big myth that yes, all children were getting access to learning. So at ThinkZone, this is where we realized we were able to interpret the challenge, because the challenge was immense, the challenge was significant. The children who we were able to reach out to, the children who Taranam was, you can say, teaching, they were not able to, get access. So at ThinkZone, we started with the program Prakashak as a direct response to the pandemic. It's a long, you can say, Prakashak is Parents Remote Assistance and Knowledge Support for Holistic Advancement of Kids. But the meaning of Prakashak has actually big significance, because here in the program, we were catering to children, we are catering to families who did not have access to smartphones and the internet. Now the question is, like, how were you reaching out to children? So in the program Prakashak, it was a simple home learning solution wherein the content in Odia language was being shared on a text message, on a voice call, with a toll-free number facility, wherein parents could call and hear the activities again. Educators, community educators who we were working with, they had a mobile application solution wherein they called parents and used to take a follow-up of their, what was happening or not. The solution basically seems simple, and the first thing, and I'm sure like everyone would ask the question to me, like, seriously, like SMS, seriously phone calls, toll-free number, like how can someone learn on a small phone? And believe me, this apprehension is correct, and our team also had a doubt, especially when there was so much of sophisticated edtech solutions wherein content was getting shared over fancy mobile apps. So we were also apprehensive that how come a single phone call, a text message could add value to a parent whose child is still struggling and not getting means to a good education or good learning. You'll be surprised to know that parents started doing these activities at their home at the peak of the pandemic. We were receiving thousands of calls on a toll-free number from parents who used to share their feedback that they were enjoying these simple do-it-yourself learning activities. Some parents felt empowered. They said, like while they were calling, that they'll still continue to do so because it was adding value to their lives, it was adding value to their children's life. Even after the schools reopen, they'll continue doing these activities. So yes, during the peak of the pandemic, when we started out, we did a small pilot. We thought things are, like moving ahead. Like all of a sudden, I receive a call from a senior government functionary. So as a normal person, when I received the call, I thought, oh my God, what I've done wrong? Like, am I in trouble? But fortunately, the senior government functionary, he got to know about a program on social media. And so he asked us to let's work together to expand the scope of our program. So in partnership with the state government of Odisha and with our limited resources, from a small pilot, we started expanding our home learning program, the Prakashak program, to reach out to more than 22,000 children, especially during the pandemic, who did not have access to smartphones or the internet, giving their parents small nudges, small support, so that they can interact with their children, spend few minutes a day at their home, and help them develop basic skills. What added more value was community educators who were following up with parents, who were asking them, nudging them to spend some time with their children, following up regularly with them. So the idea was just content, you can say, doesn't add value. If someone is actually personalizing the same, someone is actually calling them regularly, parents were actually doing these activities. Independent impact evaluation of a Prakashak program by leading academic researchers from IIM Nagpur and OP Jindal School of Public Policy have found out that in 5 months of our program intervention, there was significant impact on the language and arithmetic scores, with average scores improving by more than 20% in 5 months of our intervention. One of the important, you can say, surprising, or you can say happily surprising factor was that parents were actually getting involved with their children and spending more and more amount of time by doing these kinds of home learning activities at their own home. So our apprehension, educational infrastructure, a proper place, a classroom. Education and learning are not equal. Having a college degree with, learning is also not equal. So my point over here is that anyone can be a teacher, provided with the right nudge and support. Prakashak is still continuing. It is running right now and reaching out to more than 50,000 children. After the pandemic, we have been able to expand our program. People would ask right now, what is our $1 million innovation? At ThinkZone, or if you ask our team members at ThinkZone, if you ask me, I don't have an answer. I'll say I don't have $1 million innovation. What maybe is our innovation? Maybe doing simple things in a better way. Maybe that is our innovation. So at ThinkZone, I would like to conclude over here is by saying that we have been running these kinds of small experiments to bridge the learning gaps of children, to bridge this educational inequality which is there in the country. It's a humongous work, We are also facing challenges each and every day. But somehow, if we redefine what learning is, if we break the barrier, if we move ahead from this rigid structure and think aloud, think, differently, that education is not equal to learning, then I think we'll be able to reach out to millions of children and provide them with the access to a good quality education. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.